podcast. This is Erin.
And I'm Josh.
And this time we are watching the final entry in the Cornetto Trilogy, World's End. Josh, what can you tell us about World's End?
World's End. So I kept thinking it was called At World's End.
I thought it was too. But that's the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the third Pirates movie, At World's End. After we were like talking about watching this one, and I went to order like a Blu-ray copy off of Amazon, that's typing in At World's End, and it was like, "You want the Pirates movie?" I was like, "No." So it's The World's End.
The World's
End. So The World's End, it is like you said, it's the third entry of Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and I'll include Nick Frost. Cornetto Trilogy. Really, it's about a group of friends who grew up together, and there's this...
And they go on one last pub crawl.
Yeah, it's a drinking pub crawl that they tried when they graduated from, I think it's high school.
Whatever the British version of high school is.
Yeah, because I thought it was college when I was watching it. But it's high school, I believe.
Well, and the frustrating thing is that I know that the Brits call college a different thing. Like, they have... to them, it's university. Yeah. But then college does have a meaning, and it means something else. And I don't know if high school is the word that they use for high school.
Yeah, because their drinking age is pretty young. It's 18. So most of these guys would have been 18 graduating high school. So there's the Golden Mile. So Simon Pegg's character, Gary King, who gets his friends to go do the Golden Mile, which is like 12 pubs. And The World's End is the last one.
Yep.
But as...
and the first time they tried to do it, they couldn't do it.
They didn't. Yeah, they failed. And so time goes by, they're adults, and they try it again.
Yeah,
but there's something going on.
Ensue in a very typical Cornetto Trilogy fashion.
Yep.
So with this movie in particular, we're actually kind of breaking the format of the show a little bit, because I actually had seen this movie before the podcast. And also it was the only one of the Cornetto Trilogy that I had even seen until we watched Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz for the pod. And so I already came into this movie liking it and thinking it was cool. And part of the reason I was so curious about the Cornetto Trilogy generally is because, so I watched World's End on a plane, and I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
And then instantly I started telling people, I was like, oh, I saw this cool movie. It's World's End. And everyone's like, oh, that movie? That movie's awful. And I was like, what? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's part of this trilogy, and it's the worst one. And I was like, this good movie is the worst one? And I think even you did that same thing, didn't you?
Yeah. When you told me you watched that one, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not even the best of the three.
Yeah. And so, I guess I may as well dive in. Now that I've seen all three, I completely understand.
You can understand why everybody was like, damn, dude, you missed out.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you liked about this movie before watching the other two?
Let me think, because it was a good while ago. I think it was before the pandemic that I watched World's End the first time. I liked the concept. I liked the acting. I love Simon Pegg in anything, so that was a major win for me to start with. It has Martin Freeman. I have a weakness for Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman, yes.
But I thought that it was I thought it was well written. I thought it was well put together. It was engaging. It was funny. It was a pretty, as far as just a comedy movie goes. It
was funny. Okay.
It's a solid, basic movie.
Yeah. So at that time, though.
At that time.
And then now you saw the other two.
Yeah.
What are your feelings about it now?
Oh, it's so sad compared to the other two.
Yeah.
I mentioned during Hot Fuzz that I thought that Shaun of the Dead is the best one, and then Hot Fuzz is it's good, but it's not as good as Shaun of the Dead. And to me, World's End is an even bigger step down, because so much of what I loved about Shaun of the Dead was the relentless writing, the relentless use of the frame, the relentless speed of things, the cutting, the editing. And that is still present a little bit in Hot Fuzz, but not as much. And in World's End comparatively just feels like a normal movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel like it's part of the trilogy at all. So a lot of the charm was not there. Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah.
Especially on a rewatch.
It's funny because I saw this movie when it came out in theaters, and I was super hyped for this because for a long time they were like, oh, it's going to be a trilogy, and I kept thinking what that third movie is going to be. Like, what's the plot? What, like, yeah, it's going to be one of the best ones. They're going to go all out. So when it came out, I went to the theaters. I watched it, and I was like, they definitely did the trope of the third movie's not the best. Like a lot of other trilogies.
Yeah.
To me, even the rewatch today when I watched it before, I was kind of bored. And I didn't see it as funny at all compared to the other two.
Well, especially compared to the other two.
But even, like, if I just had watched it like you, I kind of didn't think it was funny at all. I did kind of like the role change with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Like, usually Nick Frost is kind of the goofy whatever, but he was the more serious character in this. And Simon Pegg was the goofy, which it shows that their acting is actually, they have some really good talent for acting.
Yeah.
And I think if they had maybe a different story, it would have been a lot better for them. And I think since Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright do the writing for this movie, it's definitely probably one of the projects that they wanted to do, like the story. They wanted to do this. And I think it's just mostly the friends part. I don't really know if they really cared about doing the whole alien thing. Like, they were doing different subjects, absolutely. Like the zombie, the cop, and then this is supposed to be like a science fiction.
Yeah, like an alien invasion apocalypse movie.
But like, I felt like maybe that wasn't the right choice for them to have done. Maybe a different genre they should have went with. That's how I feel.
I'm a little curious about that because looking at it from my perspective, I actually feel like an alien invasion apocalypse movie isn't a bad choice for them because like the things that they're choosing are like regular people put into extremely fantastical situations. I'd say actually in that way, Hot Fuzz is probably the most grounded story out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like supernatural happening.
No.
But it's like regular people put into an over-the-top fantastical situation with a lot of options for comedy, a lot of options, frankly, for violence. And I think that like the alien invasion story is good for that. I just don't know that they executed it super well.
Yeah, there you go. The execution, in the way I see it, wasn't done well.
Yeah, it was so frustrating because there were little moments where like that same verve that you have in like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, you could see it like sneak through. Like one of the parts that I really liked is there's a part where I think it's once they've all gathered as adults to do the Golden Mile again. They're all walking along to this song, Show Me the Way to the Next Whiskey Bar.
Okay, yeah.
And if you watch, you notice that every single person, not just the main cast, but every single extra as well, is all walking on the cadence of the beat, which gives it this like really uncanny feeling, which gave me like a little sparkle of that like Shaun of the Dead, like Swiss watchy vibe.
That's definitely their motif for their films, is kind of matching that
synchronized
movement with like songs that they're gonna use and stuff. And that's, and sometimes that's really hard to do because like you're trying to listen in your head, or you may have that song like in some headphones and you're like, okay, we're gonna film it this way, but to match that into editing, really difficult.
I bet. Well, and so like that was the thing for me, was like I saw that they were trying to do something similar, but it felt like it was that part that felt really similar, or like the kind of like very frenetic energy felt really similar, or the Straight Man and the Burnout energy. Like there were pieces there, but it was not as nearly well like stitched together. Oh man, I'm thinking about some of the relentlessness of the editing, and like they do that thing where they're like filling up the pints of beer and then the water, and like again they have similar like editing choices in the other movies. It's just that with the other two movies, those choices are happening like once every 5 minutes. And in World's End, those choices are happening like once every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah. And it just feels so much more sparse.
Yeah. It's like, we like to do this, so we're going to do it every now and then. A little bit. Even though...
But then we're not gonna spend our time and energy doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Which really, like... Yeah, it sucked some of the energy out that I was expecting.
Yeah. I think it could have been maybe if they explored like towards the end when they do the whole end of the world Mad Max part. I would have probably liked the rest of the third act be that, and then see how they develop there, because you kind of see what they went through with coming back, doing the pub crawl. They all kind of have a change. Simon Pegg's character, Gary King, he kind of changes to be kind of a more of a leader, more of a responsible person, because now at the end, he's got the younger versions of them who are the robots, and they're
almost inexplicably sober, which
is
good for him,
because he's asking for waters at the bar at the end. But I like this, maybe of seeing more of that.
Yeah, the thing that really surprised me though was the thing I loved about Shaun of the Dead is that it's wound so tight. Every part is working in perfect lockstep, and it's not quite as tight with Hot Fuzz, but it's still pretty tight. You barely feel even an echo of that in World's End. And it was just so disappointing to see that I don't know, this creative team just kind of unwound. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels that way with this third movie. This one, not their full creativity was in this movie, as it could have been with the other, with the other ones. I feel like their writing and just their filmmaking is just top notch, and Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz. And then let's see, Hot Fuzz was 2007. The World's End, it was released in 2013. So
pretty big gap.
Very long gap.
I wonder if they were just kind of creatively tapped out, because I think during that time was when Simon Pegg was in Star Trek a bunch.
Yeah, Simon Pegg did a ton of things in between, because there's definitely some movies I can recommend, if you like Simon Pegg, check out these ones. Hot Fuzz, he did Star Trek in 2009. Oh, another comedy that's really fun. And it has the guy from Shaun of the Dead that plays David.
Oh.
He's in this movie called Run, Fat Boy Run. Yeah, Star Trek. He started doing a voice for the Ice Age movies. Yeah, he started doing a lot of movies.
Yeah, he hit his stride in that late aughts, early teens.
Oh yeah, he starts getting to the Mission Impossible franchise in 2011.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they weren't just creatively tapped out and needed more of a break than they possibly could themselves.
So here's another thing. 2013 was also the second Star Trek movie and this movie, so...
Oh, wow.
That's a big
huge commitment.
Yeah.
So he probably couldn't do as much of the writing.
Yeah.
Because I agree that it wasn't as funny, and if Simon Pegg is responsible for more of the writing jokes, then I can definitely see the gap there. I couldn't help but notice that the sort of aliens turning up, being cosmically rude to humans vibe is not dissimilar to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Well, and also it's set in Britain, and if this team had done Hitchhikers, I think Hitchhikers would have been a much better movie than it was.
The Alien movie that they did that they wasn't involved with Edgar Wright, Paul. I feel like that could have been the subject for this third movie, where they meet an alien and they have to save him, get him off Earth. It's kind of the same kind of trope that they're doing, because it's I feel like they should have went more comedy than the seriousness. But
I think the essence of the story is fine. What it has on the tin: group of 5 friends come back to do a pub crawl that they hadn't finished, and then they wind up being beset by aliens taking over the world. That's a great premise.
Yeah.
I just think it feels almost first drafty in execution.
That could be possible.
If they had taken more time to tighten up the jokes, tighten up the characters a little bit more, because the characters they're kind of distinct, but again, Shaun of the Dead, every single character you cannot mistake them for one another.
Yeah.
David is different from their roommate. Shaun is obviously different from Nick Frost. The girls are different. Every character is distinctly different from each other. But in this one, the friends other than Simon Pegg start to kind of blur together. If they had taken some time to tighten up the characters, tighten up the story, and then in the shooting, tighten up the shooting, tighten up the framing, tighten up the editing.
You definitely feel less work has been on the other characters for any of their development, the reason for them to be in this.
Yeah, they all grew up and became corporate guys.
Instead of being kind of plot driven. Yeah, there's really not much to them. Like all the others, besides Gary King, like he's the only one that really gets a lot.
Yeah, he stands out really, really well. Whereas like
Nick Frost, you get a little bit because they have this conflict.
The main character, but he's almost indistinguishable from like Oliver, for example, Martin Freeman.
Yeah,
and the main reason I remember him is because I love Martin Freeman. Yeah. The other two, I don't know, they sure are
even
guys.
Even like the female character, Sean's
Rosamund
girlfriend.
Pike.
Yeah, well, and that one like doesn't really get anything, and like Rosamund Pike's character gets not a lot. Like she's Oliver's sister, but
she's Oliver's sister, and she's the one that Gary hooked up with.
Two characters it's you got a little love triangle here. Like okay, but there was no reason for me to care.
Yeah,
and I think when you're talking about tightening up script in the story, and they should have worked on that. When it was first draft, I feel that they might have not have worked on very many drafts for this. Yeah,
like I said, I really wonder if that to a certain extent is just due to Simon Pegg having been so frickin' busy. Yeah. Honestly, I think one of the things that I did still like about it was the overcoming your midlife crisis story. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not something that I think you see very often. And it was something I really appreciated about the story, actually, is where Gary King is spending the entire time, like, trying desperately to, like, recapture his youth. And then when finally presented to him, like, here you go, man.
You have you have that literally chance. We're giving it to you.
Mm-hmm. And he winds up rejecting it and basically saying, like, there's only one Gary King, and accepting the fact that he's responsible for himself. Like, that's such a cool character arc moment. And especially, like, I'm, like, over 40 now, and I'm definitely in the middle of my own little midlife crisis or whatever. I thought it was a cool concept when I watched it originally, but, like, it really, really rings true now. Like, that's one of the things that I genuinely liked about it from, like, a more structural writing place is, like, the theming I thought was really good. But yeah, it's still, even with that, it still wound up feeling just a tiny bit hollow.
Yep, it's got I guess you can say a pretty shell, but it's pretty hollow inside.
Lol. Like a robot.
Like those robots.
If we rip off the head of this movie, will blue goo come out?
Probably. Hopefully.
Also, I don't know why this is becoming the Erin has to talk about gore podcast, but why was all the gore blue in this movie? Would it have killed them for it to be red?
Well,
I guess, like,
and it's already
robots.
It's already a rated R, so
I guess
you could still do blood because that's how movies get ratings. If you have an action movie that actually shows blood and it's red, it's immediately rated R. Mm-hmm. If you show other colors of blood, then it's not necessarily rated R.
So we'll have like a Vulcan massacre and all their green blood will mean nothing to the MPAA.
It'd just be, this is PG-13 because, their heads are chopped off, but hey, as long as it's green blood, it's fine.
Killing Spock. Who cares about that?
Yeah, because you watch a lot of like even like the Lord of the Rings movies, the Marvel movies. There's some blood scenes in there,
but not very much.
But it's not very much, and sometimes it's different colors.
Yeah.
I look at this, like the last Doctor Strange movie, there's a bunch of like robots, and like it's funny because like the character's ripping all these robots apart, and then like it looks like blood, but it's really oil because it's robots, and this character is covered in the oil, but they're trying to like also be like, she's so evil, look at all the blood on her, but it's not blood, it's oil. It's not, but she's like covered. So anyways.
But I mean, like, that's kind of what I was getting at, though, is like they didn't need for it to be blue. I mean, I guess like from a story standpoint, they probably wanted to point out that like it's very unusual that this is happening, and so it really highlights for you instantly like, oh, these are robots, not humans. But also like just the way that their bodies work, I think, points that out.
Yeah, it's funny because like watching it again, because like it's been a long time since I saw this movie, and like when they have their first little fight, and then it's like you see the blue and it's like splattered everywhere. I was like, if this was blood, holy crap. But like the body parts are coming apart, and they look like like plastic action figure dolls. Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of interesting design that when the arms come off and the heads, like they just put them back on. It's easy, simple.
I don't know, it was so interesting. I don't know how I felt about that part, but like I was kind of confused because they hadn't shied away from like red blood and like significant gore in the other two films. So it felt
this one felt a little
to
like
that.
they like tamed it down, or they like maybe this is better for like the plot of the story or something. But
because even as like the worst of the Cornetto trilogy, I thought it was still a like well put together movie that I was happy to have seen. It didn't stand up to the other items that like were there with it. But if it had been like its own standalone situation, I think it could have been like a really good Hitchhikers.
If it I agree with that. Like if it wasn't part of the Cornetto trilogy, this could have just been a whole nother movie, and I think it would have been fine. I think some people could have been like, yeah, it's all right, because that's how I feel with it. Yeah, it's all right. You want to watch it, but it's definitely one I'm not gonna recommend as much as I'm gonna recommend Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Like those two, hands down, watch it every day, any time of the day. I even feel like I need to watch Shaun of the Dead to wash off The World's End from my memory. Like that's kind of how bad I'm feeling with The World's End. Like, oh man.
Yeah. Do you think it was cursed by the fact that they never technically have a Cornetto on screen? The only time you see the Cornetto referenced is the rapping at the very end.
I think people have that theory a little bit. Like,
okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's developed it.
Because there's talks about that too. Like, oh yeah, they never eat one because Nick Frost, and it's always Nick Frost's characters too. Because like in Shaun of the Dead, he eats one. Hot Fuzz, he eats. They actually eat it a couple times in Hot Fuzz.
But he's the one who like
Nick Frost's character is eating it, and then in this one, it's the end of the world, and you just see the rapper, and he's all like, "Oh!"
It floats right by Nick Frost.
Yeah,
so
and
that's what they should have done. They needed to eat a Cornetto in order to improve the movie.
I think it would. Yeah, maybe it would have been better when they're at one of the bars. And Nick Frost's character, because he's not drinking, because he's done drinking. Maybe it would have been better he had an ice cream instead of a beer. Just like, I'm gonna have an ice cream.
Speaking of Nick Frost again, I thought it was really fun to see him in
Knightley.
Andy Knightley. Who is this?
That's Nick Frost's character.
Oh yeah, indeed.
And all their names are royalty names. All of the friends.
I hadn't noticed that.
Gary King, Andy Knightley, Oliver Chamberlain, Stephen Prince. And it's funny, Pierce Brosnan's in it for like 5 seconds. I like how his name is Guy.
Yeah.
Because I had a character, I was really trying to think of a character's name, and he's just Guy.
I like stuff like that too. I like that they have 2 Bonds. That's fun.
Yeah, they've had Timothy Dalton in Hot Fuzz, and then
Pierce Brosnan in World's End. They don't have a random Bond in Shaun of the Dead, do they? That I didn't notice.
I don't think so.
Imagine if Bill Nighy had been Sean Connery.
At that time, Sean Connery had been retired, so
boo.
Yeah, and rest in peace, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
But they got the same kind of cameos from other actors from the previous movies, because Bill Nighy's the voice of the network when they're talking. That's his voice, and then
I'm terrible at noticing stuff like that, so I'm glad you're pointing it out.
Then the guy Basil, the crazy old man, he was the old man in Hot Fuzz with the guns. I don't think
I love him in everything. Yeah. He was in Game of Thrones too, wasn't he? He was the
he was one of the he was one of the River Lords or
the one with 20 billion kids,
something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, I don't got a lot to say about this movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's just not very much there.
Yeah. I was reading some of like little trivia, IMDb. Some things that kind of stuck out to me was Simon Pegg must be quoted somewhere. It doesn't say where he's quoted on here, but he has said that this is his favorite of the films due to the darkness and that the least audience friendly.
Well, and he probably also had a ton of fun playing Gary King, because he seems like,
and I think he did, because watching his acting, like, I think he had fun.
Yeah, you can, like, he's genuinely so buoyant and engaged. He's such a scoundrel. It's delightful. Yeah.
One thing that was kind of cool and a little sad about this is the assistant for Nick Frost's character, because he's like a lawyer. And the assistant, they named that assistant after a fan who had passed away, I think from cancer or something. She was a big fan of Simon Pegg's and wrote him a bunch of letters and stuff. And it says here that he didn't get them like in time till she passed away. And so when he found out, he wrote the character in her memory.
That's so cute. That's delightful. Well, with that, shall we bring it to an end?
Yeah.
World's End coming to an end.
Yeah, so if you want to watch it, go ahead. I'm not going to recommend it, but definitely watch Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz if you haven't.
So listeners, what do you think? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so by becoming a patron at patreon.com/youhaven'tseen-that-podcast. Link is in the description. Thanks!
What are we going to work on next time?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth. Because that is a Del Toro movie.
There we go.
Guillermo del Toro, another director. I love to see his stuff, and his work inspires me to do more stuff if I had budgets.
I'm very excited to see it because the only Del Toro movie I've ever seen was Pacific Rim. And when I watched that, I was prepared to absolutely hate it. And actually, I was pretty impressed for a lot of reasons. Yeah. So, yeah, Pan's Labyrinth, which famously has, like, really great... Oh, my gosh, it's going to have... What's his name?
Doug Jones.
Doug Jones! It's going to have Doug Jones! Sorry. I love Doug Jones.
Yeah, because you probably watched the Star Trek show.
Yeah, I did.
The one alien in there.
I fucking love Saru.
But, yeah, he does a lot of Del Toro's movies because he's in Pan's Labyrinth. He plays a couple characters. He's in Hellboy, obviously. He plays Abe Sapien and a few other characters in there because he does all the... Mm-hmm. And that's another thing we get to talk about is a lot of character designs and makeup, which we really haven't had any of those movies that we've watched. Really. Shape of Water, he's the creature.
He's the creature in the Shape of Water?
Yep.
I love Doug Jones. I love him so much.
So it sounds like we're pretty excited for Pan's Labyrinth
next baby.
Week. So yeah.
All right. Well, with that, thank you for joining us for the You Haven't Seen That podcast. This has been Erin.
And I'm Josh, and I'm going to finish this beer.
And I'm going to go get a beer. Bye.
All right. Bye.